The president and Congress fighting it out over cable television and how much it is costing consumers. Sudden death in Europe. Investigators try to find out why a cargo plane crashed into a crowded apartment building. And a special week-long money crunch report on health care. Tonight, prescription drugs for free and how you can get them. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening. Bulletin from Washington, D.C. The Senate has just voted to override President Bush's veto of the cable TV bill. This bill is aimed at trying to reduce the power of cable operators' monopoly, trying to improve service, and trying to hold down what you pay for cable TV. Live from Capitol Hill, Bob Schieffer has the vote. Bob?
Dan, this was a very big loss for the president. The House also is expected to have enough votes, Democrats say, to override the president's veto. So the president is going to have his first veto overridden, and by a substantial margin. The Republicans needed 34 Senate votes to sustain the president's veto. They only got 25. All this just a month before the election, when it focuses new attention on the president's opposition to what Democrats are certain to call the year's #1 consumer protection bill, a bill whose merits have been argued out for weeks now in broadcast commercials.
Recently, the politicians listened to us and did something that can help us all. They voted for a bill that will control cable rates.
Blitzing the airwaves with ads like this, consumer groups backed by the networks and local TV station owners pushed hard for the legislation. To them, cable companies are unregulated monopolies, able to raise prices to consumers at will. And cable charges have gone up, on average 61% over the last 5 years. Consumer advocates like the new legislation because for the first time, cable companies would have to get the approval of the Federal Communications Commission to raise prices to consumers. Crying foul, cable operators countered with ads denouncing the legislation.
It was intended to protect consumers from higher cable TV rates. Unfortunately, it doesn't do that. It's loaded with special interests that could increase your cable rates.
Their point, the legislation also requires cable operators to pay TV stations when they take their programs and put them on cable, something the cable companies have been able to do for free in the past. Cable operators say that cost would have to be passed on to consumers. As expected, the final debate was a mix of substance and politics.
This is politics. This is an effort to embarrass President Bush. 30 days before the election, 1 week before the first debate. That's what it's all about.
It is no weakness on the part of the President of the United States if he happens to have a veto overridden. It is no point of disrespect.
So in the end, though, the president just couldn't convince enough Republican senators to switch their votes. So he is about to lose and have his first veto overridden because House Democrats say they have the votes to override too. Dan?
Bob, in the face of voter anger about rising cable costs and what many see as declining service, why did the president veto this in the first place?
Well, the president had very strong support from the cable companies, for one thing, on a political side of it. The other part is the president's philosophy is there's just too much government regulation of business.
Bob Schieffer at the Capitol, where the Senate has just voted to override President Bush's veto of the cable TV bill. With a month to Election Day, Ross Perot has suffered a setback. His economic advisor, John White, the man who helped write Perot's book on how to fix the economy, has announced that he's endorsing Bill Clinton. If you believe the polls, early indications are Perot is not doing well with the voters either. According to the CBS News New York Times poll out tonight, 7% have a favorable opinion of Perot, 59% unfavorable. In a three-way race for president, the poll puts Clinton Gore in the lead, Bush Quayle second, and Perot Stockdale third, down in single digits. A lot of what the voters are seeing and hearing these days is nasty, negative advertising. The Bush Quayle campaign has been concentrating on negative attack ads. They have a new batch just out, and they say that more of the same is coming. Eric Ingberg has more on the power of negative thinking in tonight's Campaign 92 Reality Check.
It's morning again in America.
The last time an incumbent president ran for re-election, he drowned his opponent in a deluge of gorgeous television ads that made voters feel good about the country.
Nearly 2,000 families today will buy new homes.
The ad became a classic, a hard-sell, soft-focus display of a president's power to control the images of the campaign.